Hey everybody. I posted recently about the common mistakes that I see over and over again in screenplays and how they can doom your script. Well, today I want to dial in on dialogue because dialogue is something that we all struggle with. It is a really difficult aspect of the craft to get right. But there are three really common mistakes that you should avoid at all costs. So let's check them out. The first of these is exposition. And there's basically two ways that we see this play out. The first is talking about things that we've just seen happen. So for example, let's say two characters come in out of the rain and they immediately start discussing the fact that it's raining. Well, we know that it's raining. You've just shown it to us. So you don't need to use valuable time and space in your script to tell us about it, unless it's a key emotional moment for a character, a la, I'm terrified of the rain because of something that happened in my childhood that then leads into an important reveal. But more commonly, what we see with exposition is revealing plot through dialogue rather than through action. It is the oldest cliche in the book, but it happens to be true. Show it, don't say it. Film is a visual medium. We don't want characters to explain something that's happened. We want to see it. So if one character is telling another character about a bank robbery that they just witnessed, we want to see the robbery. Talking about action instead of showing us action is an absolute sin of the craft. Now, there's a couple exceptions to this, and the biggest one is a murder mystery. We all know the scene. It's the end of the movie. The detective gathers all the suspects around a table and tells them he's solved the crime, that the killer is sitting at the table, and now he's going to tell us how he did it. But note that if you're doing this, or if you're forced to use expository dialogue for anything in your script, you can set it against visual content in order to make it a little bit less obvious. You can use flashbacks, you can use cutaways. What you want to avoid is a camera posed on someone's face for a long period of time with nothing other than them talking. Okay, so the second big problem of dialogue is chatty dialogue. And the place where we most often see this is when characters come in and out of scenes. So in the real world, right, when we walk into a room and we greet a friend, we have a little bit of a conversation. How are you? I'm great. How have you been? On and on. In a movie, again, you don't have the time for this. We almost never need to see characters walking in and out of a scene unless it's relevant to the story. So an example where it might be relevant is, let's say you're writing a World War II action movie and you have a paratrooper who is parachuting into the war zone. Well, that might be a relevant way to enter a scene. But this really points to scene construction, because that's what we're talking about here. Of where are you starting your scene? What's the inflection point of your scene? When I come into a scene, I want to see characters already engaged and discussing the relevant information at hand that they're trying to convey to one another. Another time that we see this, by the way, is with phone calls. People pick up a phone, they're speaking to one another, there's chit chat. Don't do this. Just get right to the point and get off the phone as quickly as possible. So our third point is an over-reliance on narration and voiceover. So narration can be a really effective tool for certain stories. Think of Goodfellas or The Sandlot or A Christmas Story. Each of these is a great movie. And oftentimes we're seeing an older character looking back on their younger selves. However, writers often use this as a crutch to pave over their story problems, to the point that the narration and the voiceover can completely take over the story. Narration should be used sparingly. It gets you from one point in your story to another, or to briefly add color or context. It's not used to substitute for storytelling itself. And remember, narration can't fix a bad story. It can and should, however, add to a great one.